a weapon of war. My voice is my weapon of joy. An eye for an eye.
There's something I was thinking about the other day. I said, I wonder what it would be like if you recorded, like, you're reading a Dr. Seuss book and adding, like, your music underneath. Have you ever thought of it?
Well, I haven't thought about that, although now I want to, because you gave me a great idea. I do want to write children's books, of course, and I think it would be a really fun challenge to, because I illustrated my book and all of that, to do illustrations for the book, to be able to tell the complete asylum story, which is like very not kid-friendly, very not rated PG-13 at all. And to kind of break it down into like, well, this little bunny went crazy. It got really sad. And then do an audiobook of that. But now, because the other thing is I've since had my own studio built, so I don't have to go anywhere else for recording. It's called The Cell. It's in the asylum. And so I want to, when I get back from this tour, amongst all the other things, and completing this 3-hour musical with 50 people, is to start releasing audiobooks, where my initial thought was, of course, I have to do the complete works of Edgar Allan Poe, and then we go on to like Jane Austen and all this stuff. But now I'm thinking I need to fucking do Dr. Seuss, and I need to put music behind it. And excellent. I really, really want to read Green Eggs and Ham. So
I want like a gestation credit somewhere on that.
Yeah, we need to be in close personal touch, because I need to make sure this happens. Not even joking.
I was thinking about your audience, because yes, it is kind of an adult show, and there's kind of a weird thing going on now, because in the one way I think kids today are growing up a little too fast. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, I'm in my early 40s, so I just see what they're exposed to even on the internet, and it's amazing.
You look like you're like 26 years old.
I made a deal with the devil.
You did?
I did. It's the Cuban, Syrian, Spanish, French side.
Ooh.
I think that's what did it.
The hair keeps me young, so I'm actually 82, but
yeah, really?
It doesn't matter.
You look
I'll
great.
never know it.
That's pretty impressive.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I tried. So, yes, you were going to tell me, oh, yes, kids growing up too fast.
Well, I mean, so how many kids are in your audience, and how did you feel about that when you first started seeing kids in your audience? I mean, were you, like, freaked out, like, this is strange?
No, I think it always made sense to me, because it is, the first sense, like with food, that you're going to experience this with is not your ears, is not anything. It's with your eyes. And we're making this thing look very beautiful. We have just gorgeous, sparkly, glittery costumes in that, and it's meant to intentionally not be dark and gothic looking, which it does not. And so because of that, this is like every 4-year-old's dream of what a fantasy land would look like. They don't know the full depth of what we're singing about. They know that some of the songs are catchy and that you can dance to them. They know that some of the songs are really pretty, and they know that they want to dress up like us. So in that way, it makes sense that we have 4-year-olds that sit on their dad's shoulders and scream, "I'm still innocent." And I'm thinking, that's fucked up. It's not anymore. But yeah, I wish I was. So there's that. But then, so in that way, I completely get it, and I'm not worried for them, because also I think beyond any subject matter, I mean, even as to me specific as a lot of the songs are,
right,
I think any song, even if you're saying in the song, this is what this is about, you can take it to mean your own personal thing. I think you should. And so you can apply that to your own life. I guess you can apply The Art of Suicide to your own 4-year-old experience. I don't know. They don't know. They just know it's pretty, and I have cool hair. And so also the thing that I think does show at any age is, to get all like cheesy sounding, but this is really important to me, and I think to them, is the friendship between all of the girls on stage is very real. We are all the best friends on the face of this planet. We just got insanely lucky. We make magic together. We are all really, like, what you see on stage, and this intense love is exactly like that every day, 24/7. So they see the sisterhood aspect of it, the friendship aspect of it, which is great and a huge part of the story, in that it's about the power in numbers, about what happens when people can come together and accomplish pretty much magical things that would otherwise just be like humanly impossible.
Sure.
And so I think they see that. They see that a lot of it is really funny, and then so you get the fun, it's a show side, and to where to the adults the jokes are like bawdy with a W humor. To them, it's just like we're laughing and kissing each other and stuff.
Yeah.
So, I think that actually is a great thing. And I'm really personally really proud when I get both the really young people in the audience and the really far more older people like 60 plus in the audience, both of which for every show that's all ages happens every day. It's always like that. And so, yeah, I think it's beautiful that it has gotten, I guess, complex enough that it can be understood on like a very childish level and on a really serious like psychological level.
I know you told me last time that you don't perform Gothic Lolita live because it's a very draining song, but yet it's a very pretty song at points too. So those 4-year-olds have no idea what the hell that's about, and that might be a little much for them at that point.
I know. No, but when they're 11, they'll start to figure it out and go, oh shit, oh God. Wow, that's what that guy meant?
There was a recent press release, and one of the tags they put on there was, famously bipolar, and I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that. I'm acquainted with a couple of people. I've met a couple of people who are bipolar, and I think, it's great that you've come out about that and you're very open about it. Then there's a cynical side of me that says, marketing and media people will jump on it and say, oh, she's just fucked up. This is a great story. And it's like, yeah, but that's not really the point.
No.
Do you ever worry that gets manipulated by the media or by anybody too much? I mean, because obviously you don't have complete control once you're outside of a certain venue.
Sure. No, you realize, like, once you're even, like, step outside of your house and get on stage where you're, like, a few feet above anybody else, you've totally given it up. And unfortunately, it's true. Like, even a fan base will never think of you as a real human being ever again. You now belong to them or to something. So that's definitely true that I think there's a couple factors in that make it, sorry, I'm losing my voice. Okay. But you're worth it.
Thank you.
That make me more comfortable with that than not. Something that's kind of ironic, I think, is that I'm coming out and saying this is the situation and that it would be, well, basically, yeah, I'm saying that because it's true and because it has become out of necessity and now kind of turned into something awesome to be a huge part of everything that I do because that's my background and you write about what you know. And I've been able through my crazy ass experiences with that. And it isn't about being bipolar. It's where that takes you. And sometimes that takes you to being incarcerated. And so on the real like human side, I think it's more important to risk any sort of a manipulation of that because ultimately there are a lot of people that are affected by that or things like this or know someone who is or maybe even don't quite know that they have a bipolar kid that they're about to have locked up and they don't know what's going to happen once you put that person in there. They don't know. And some really illegal shit goes down in there. And that's why it was important to release a book that was really just diary entries, is because realizing that I am not the only one that crazy, bad, illegal stuff is being done to because you're in a place that you're completely physically, mentally, drug-wise, especially physically, at the mercy of anybody in there.
Yeah.
And if you wanted to fuck with people, what would you do? You would be a shrink. You would be a psychiatrist. You would be a doctor in one of these places because anything you do to somebody doesn't, and this is like a new song on the record in the show called Take the Pill, and it has this breakdown that's about, well, you're a doctor and I'm just a crazy girl, so who are you going to believe? And I'm very aware it's not going to be me.
Yeah. So
they can do anything. Because if you say anything, any accusations that you make, you're crazy and you're fantasizing.
They go on your file.
And they can anything. Yes. And see, that's the other thing, is that all of this is on my file. So if I were to try to go and get a normal job where I can't get away with looking like this every day, those things, as much as you wouldn't think would be an issue, they are an issue. And so go and try to get a normal corporate whatever. That is all background checks. That's all there. And that means that on the books, even though we're talking right now and we're completely fine, right? On the books, I am mentally ill because bipolar is genetic. I will never not be. There's no cure for that. And that means that I am high risk for hiring, for being involved with in any real way because I could just freak out at any time. Of course, that's not actually how that happens, but people don't understand that. Yeah. So it was important both to educate that that's not actually how that works, and also to use my relatively luxurious position as an entertainer to where I can get away with talking about it and not having it affect my income, amongst other things, because I've been able to make it into part of my job and part of something even beautiful and entertaining and really just make the best out of it and even enjoy the hell that it's brought to me. And I think that is something that I get to do, where if I were somebody that's affected by this or know someone who is and I'm in a normal position, I can't talk about it because people are fucking freaked out because they don't know anything. I can't talk about cutting. I can't talk about suicide. I can't talk about any of these things, which are the problem, is that we can't talk about this because it's so terrifying. And yet, here's the other thing that's the ironic part, is that Britney Spears goes and shaves her head, does a bunch of drugs, and what does the press say? She's fucking bipolar. Oh my God, Britney's bipolar. 1, that's not what you do when you're bipolar. 2, she's evidenced nothing that says she's bipolar. And now they're throwing this word around, basically like when you're on the schoolyard and your friend does something stupid and you say, you sound retarded. So now bipolar is a word like retarded, to where somebody does some crazy shit and you're bipolar. And we could just throw that shit around, to where even now it's still kind of bad form to just call somebody a retard, because we kind of know that's kind of not cool. But it's still fine to do that, to like, you're crazy, you're totally manic, you're totally bipolar. And the thing is, I don't care. My feelings aren't hurt by that. But that is a lot more damaging than anything I'm going to do about saying, this is the story. I have this story. This is what happened. Guess what? Not only am I dealing with it, but I'm making a good story out of it. And it's entertaining. I'm going to turn the story into reality. I'm going to make a show out of it. I'm going to make it into something beautiful, maybe even helpful. And I'm going to take it to Broadway. That seems completely valid to me. And I really just couldn't be bothered with what anybody makes that into, because I think that I make it into something a lot stronger and a lot louder, because I talk a lot. And so I think in the end, no matter what anybody's going to say about it, I can just crush that down under the million words I'm going to say on top of it. So listen to like some idiot that's like doing a critique of something, or like somebody with hair like that. Seriously.
Well, you know, it's funny. I think last time we talked about how you were, a lot of the songs were about you literally wanting to jump off a bridge and making it hilarious. So,
yeah, I did.
You know, but is it still the case now, or are you sort of just enjoying standing on the edge and pulling back from that?
I think...
not enjoying necessarily, but just sort of...
Let me think about that, because that's a really good one. I don't think that there's ever a point that I will enjoy... I enjoy the opportunities that I have. I enjoy talking to you. I enjoy a lot of amazing things about being able to be a showgirl and be on stage. You know, that's always what I've wanted. But I'll never really enjoy what's gotten me to this point, or the whole issue, because like something that I drew in the book is there's no, and I still really believe, is that there's no kind of high that is worth this kind of low, and that will never go away. And so I think all that you can really do, best case scenario, is just to try to take everything that happens and make it not wasted. At least make it, basically get the joke when you can. Even if it's morbid humor, it can still be pretty fucking funny. And I know, like, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. All of this is ridiculous. And I love that it is. And it's also beautiful and serious. But you can't, even at the end of everything we've just talked about, you can't really take it that seriously, because then you just won't even be able to put one foot in front of the other. Like, at some point, you have to just sit back and realize the whole cosmic joke of this whole thing is like, you've got somebody that obviously, like, and arrogantly saying, like, has a lot to share with the world and give. I have a lot of creative things that I want to be born and lots of things I want to do in this world. And then you give this person the innate desire to die every day. That's fucked up. That's really fucking funny. Like, in Insane Asylum, that's comedy gold. I'm just going to be able to laugh at that, and through everything I get to do, and be on stage and meet people and realize that I'm not alone. They realize they're not alone. We create this beautiful community of united, really strong individuals. And in the end, I have a good story to tell, and I'm just going to see how long that can, like, keep this painted smile on my face.
I'm enjoying the story so far.
Thank you.
Cool. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thanks for putting up with me and the babbling and all of that.
Thank you for listening to this latest podcast from Attention Deficit Delirium. Stay tuned for our next installment, which is coming soon.